Hi, welcome to C programming tutorial. This tutorial is the continuation of the previous tutorial, and we were talking about strings. So if you haven't watched that tutorial, I would highly recommend that you watch the previous tutorial, and the link to that tutorial must be showing up on the screen right now, or it must be in the description. Again, this tutorial is one of the collection of a large number of tutorial in this series, in C programming tutorial series. I would recommend that you watch all of them. And if you came here from Facebook, I would recommend that you become a fan of the page Awesome C Programming Tutorials in High Def. And if you usually watch the videos on YouTube, then I would recommend that you become you subscribe to this channel, Learnorama. The reason I'm asking you to do this is basically this way you will be able to get notified of any new videos that I post. Anyway, so let's continue. In the previous tutorial, we looked at the concept of a string, how they are represented in memory, and how they are the same as declaring an array of characters, except that at the end of that string we have to store a null terminator. Okay, so we learned about this in the previous tutorial. Let's see, in this tutorial we will see how those strings can be written. What's the syntax of those strings? So let's see. So if you want to create, so that in general in C program, strings are actually represented by double quotes like this. So you write whatever inside it, whatever you want to write, you can write in here, and that will basically be your string. That will be treated as a string. So here, if I have to write the string Sohail, which is my name, then that basically gives you this. This is how I define that string. Okay. So anywhere where the compiler would see this as Sohail, written as Sohail, that means that we are talking about an array of characters with, first element containing S, second element containing O, H, A, I, L, followed by the next element which has only 0 written in it. So this string, which is, even though it is 6 characters long, it actually is 7 characters long because it has to store 0 at the end. Now, what do I have to do if I have to basically suppose I want to declare a string named name and want to store the value, want to store this name into it. So I can do that. Okay, and this should be perfectly okay for the compiler. See, the compiler compiled it, and it's just happy with this. So what it does is basically it allocates in memory, it allocates 11 bytes because it's an array of characters, 11 bytes, and calls it with its name, and it writes S in the first element, O in the second element, H in the third element, A, I, L, followed by 0, which is the null terminator. Okay. Now this is how you do it. So, but let's write a small program where we would basically ask the user to enter a name, and then the computer will say hi, followed by that name. So let's learn how to do that. So first thing we have to do is to basically print a message like enter your name. Okay, so that we can tell the user what we want to do. So how do you do that? We have done it many times before. We use this function called printf and write the message like this. What next we want to do is to ask the user to enter something. So when you have to ask the user to enter something, what you could use is scanf. So you use scanf to enter, so to ask user to enter something, and this time, and what you have to do in scanf, first thing you have to do is to basically specify the format of the data type that you want to enter. So all this time we have been using %d because we have been entering numbers or integers, but the format specifier for a string is %s. Okay, since we want the user to enter a string, we want to write %s here. Okay, and then followed by the name of the variable where the string or whatever that value is entered by the user is going to go. That's what we specify in scanf, right? Format specifier followed by the variable name that is going to hold the value that the user enters. Here we want to store it inside name, and since we are going to be asking the user to enter it, so we don't even have to initialize it to any name. Okay, so once the user enters here, this value of this variable name or this array name or this string name will become its value right here. Okay, and then what we need to do is to basically say hi followed by this name. So how do we do that? We say hi and followed by whatever the user wrote that name. So we have to write the string name here or print the value of this string here. So how do we do that? Whenever we have to print a value of something, we specify the format specifier here. And in this case, usually we have been doing %d because we have been printing out integers all this time, or %c to print out the characters. But here we have to print out the array of characters with null termination, which means we have to print out the string, and the string's format specifier is %s, and then usually we basically bring the cursor to the next line, so \n, okay, comma, and then we specify which variables we will be printing for these these format specifiers. So what is here instead of here? What are we going to print instead of this %s? We are going to be printing the value of the variable name. Now notice one thing here. Usually in the scanf, I have been telling you to put up an ampersand before the name of the variable. This is true for integers and characters types, the basic types or the float types. Okay, but here, since it's an array, we don't have to do that. Okay, so you don't have to specify an ampersand here. And why is that? Is it that? Let's not worry about it for now. We will learn about it when we will be doing pointers. When we'll be doing pointers, we'll come back and we will learn about why we have to do it and why not we have to do it. Okay, but for now, let's not worry about it. What we'll do is we'll just write the array name. So just remember this, that if it is an array that we are entering the value for, or the string that we are entering the value for, you just write the name of the string, no ampersand before it. Okay, so this is it. This is our program. Let's see if it runs. Okay, there we go. We just compiled and run. By the way, you have to press F9 key to be able to do that. So first thing it's doing is asking the user to enter the name. Okay, so here, as you can see in this program, it says enter your name. Printf, enter your name. We don't even need this variable declaration. I was just trying to explain how the integer variable arrays are created. And then it says printf. So first thing it does is it allocates a space in memory with name of that allocation is name. And how long is that? It says 11 bytes. And because we have to use it as a string, and a string has a null termination, so 1 byte is going to be used for null termination. So your name should be smaller than 10 bytes here. Okay, because the 1 byte will be used for the null termination. Then it says, okay, print this on the screen, enter your name. So it prints this, enter your name. And then it says scanf, so ask the user to enter, or expect the user to enter the name. So I write the name here. Okay, you can write whatever you want as long as it has less than 10 characters, and then I press enter. So at that point the value of name becomes Sohail, and then it comes here, it says hi, it prints hi as is, and then it says %s for the value of the name of the variable name. Okay, so it writes whatever the user entered here, Sohail. So see how we entered a string and then printed out that value. Alright, so we will continue with this tutorial in the next video. I really appreciate you watching it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like it, please do rate 5-star, and do leave some comments on Facebook so that I know that there is out there somebody who is liking my tutorials. Thank you so much. Bye.